All right, we are live with my brother from another Canadian mother, Brandon Towns. So Brandon is somebody that you joined, I think, the same day or the same week
Same
at
weekend.
EXP. Yeah.
Same weekend.
So we were down in Orlando, Florida, and we were kind of just making sure that everything was kind of how we thought it was going to be. We wanted to see how the type of people that we were going to be in business with. You were one of the people that we ran into, and I think that was kind of the cherry on top of all the research that we had put into EXP when we were looking at it, to go down there and meet guys like you and some of these huge, massive producers that are extremely focused on growth, because that's something from all the conversations that we had in Orlando and then Vegas again. You're definitely somebody who is committed to growth every single year. That's something that I strongly believe in too. So to the topic I wanted to cover today, because you and I were talking last week about how EXP's changed your business, and you said the biggest thing has been profitability. Mm-hmm. So in any standard brokerage, there's one way to make money. You sell houses, and that's it. And if you want to make more money, there's only two ways to do so. You either sell more houses and invest more of your time, or you increase your commission. So today we're going to talk about how you didn't necessarily do either of those two things, yet you've doubled your profitability. So where I want to start off, though, is when you first heard about EXP, because I actually don't know that we've covered this at all, like you and I chatting. When you first heard about EXP and were exposed to the model, what did that look like? What were your initial doubts in the company, your thoughts kind of in general?
Yeah, man. So there's certainly a lot to unpack there. First of all, yeah, we met at the shareholder summit in Florida. I think we had even been talking a little bit before, but that was my official first day at EXP. So I went down there by myself, honestly, a little bit nervous, but I remember running into you the last night. I ran back to some other meeting room. I think we were having a drink and we snagged a picture. So hopefully you still have that one. It was pretty cool. But a little bit of my backstory is I had been researching EXP for about 18 months before finally actually making that decision to go to EXP. I was a partner at an independent brokerage. We were relatively successful. We had lots of high producing agents and very few agents, but all high producing. But one thing that was very, very challenging every single year, it was profitability, right? And I think that's with any business, but especially in real estate, it's very challenging to be profitable. There's so many different things that you can spend your money on, chase that golden goose, whatever it is. But you're also naturally in growth mode quite often. So to be profitable is challenging. And yes, I would say that the biggest success that I'm seeing from 2020 is my bottom line, is that profitability. And it's just crazy what you can do when you make some major tweaks to your business. So yes, I think that I've came in, I've sold as many homes as one of my top years. They have a great commission split here, and it's certainly a super low cap. I actually icon November 30th. So they're going to give me probably actually all of that entire cap back in the form of stock. So we have stock as well, and then the revenue share. So we'll unpack a little bit of those. Jump in.
Yeah. So talk about, so talk about the icon agent, I guess, because you touched on it there. Like, yeah, for those who wouldn't know what that is.
Sure. Yeah. So EXP wants to compensate top producing agents for working at their company. And essentially, they are willing to make absolutely no money off agents if they are top producing. And to be a top producing or icon agent, it depends on what market you're in. But essentially what it is you're either doing 20 transactions in your calendar year, you're either doing 20 transactions after you cap, or paying $5,700 in transaction fees for that year. So essentially, my new year started July 1st. I did 7 transactions, and then I just closed another 20 by November 30th. So not only am I on a 100% commission split, but now they're going to give me my $16K back in the form of company stock, because I've sold, because I'm going to hit that icon status, essentially. So they're paying me to work for them now.
That's right. But beyond that, because you're on 100% split in the sense that they gave you that $16,000 in cap back that you've paid the company, but that's worth a lot more than $16,000, because that stock is we're on the rise, right?
Yeah.
And then on top of that,
yeah, stocks go up, stocks go down. There's certainly some great possibility that it could go the direction of up, for sure.
Yeah. And on top of that, they're rewarding you even more stocks for just doing your daily activities, like selling properties and so on, which is pretty phenomenal.
Yeah. And I mean, every business model has different commission splits, and it just depends on what you need to charge an agent to be profitable and what you're offering as far as value back to those agents. So I understand why what some team leaders charge, et cetera, too. Everybody's different. I've talked to probably 10 to 12 different team leaders this year alone to see what their compensation model is. But it's really about what value you're getting back from that split. And I'm just about to launch my own team as well too. So really trying to dial in exactly what we're going to be offering versus charging, et cetera, it can be challenging. So, we had a pretty high commission split at our company in order to offset all the expenses that the company had. So where did we get that money from? We got it from the agents, and just over long term, it's tough to charge those high commission splits once an agent starts being successful and still be able to provide the value to charge those splits to the agents.
So, and that's a good point that you're talking. I mean, you're talking about starting in 2021 with your own team. You've ran a brokerage before. For people that, because I think that the team, the top producers and because I say EXP is not for everybody, but for the people who want to grow, they want to do things like start a team, and they want their production to go up, it definitely makes sense. So talk about what your 2021 plans look like for you starting a team and why it makes so much sense at EXP.
Yeah. So first off, I want to talk about why I think that I had success this year.
Right.
I can't stress this enough, but it's really tapping into all the resources. And I'm not just talking about the resources that EXP, specifically the EXP brokerage, offers, although there's so much incredible training in there. When I look at and I do my Sunday planning at 8:30, they send me the EXP emails you the training calendar every single week. I look at that and I typically pull out the Icon series. So there are training every single week, training and presented by agents that are Icon agents, so top producing agents. So I'm in there and I'm trying to absorb as much of that training as possible. But specifically the collaboration at EXP. So who's in your network? Who can you tap into? Some of the names we have in our Honey Badger group, like I'm listening to Daniel Beer talk every single time he goes live, right? Like that's where I'm tapping into it. My sponsors, Woods Davis and Michael Reese, of course, but like really tapped into Woods and what he can provide as far as Facebook advertising and lead generation. That's what I really needed when I left my previous company for here to fill that void of transactional base. Mm-hmm. And therefore, so I tapped into those resources. I worked really hard to understand the functionalities of that. And that's why I was able to be successful. So if you're coming here, I promise you that the resources are there. You just need to take full advantage of all of those resources.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. I mean, you can get and this is what we've said for many years. My dad said to every agent that's ever joined our team, because we always tried to provide training and stuff before. His struggle was that, that costs a lot of money. It wasn't, the caliber. Every agent for part of the team needs different training. Somebody who's been in the business a lot longer than somebody who's a little bit newer the training's completely different. So you can have all the training in the world, which EXP definitely comes very close to, but if the agent doesn't want to do the work, and that's why I say, EXP may not be for everybody. If you don't want to do the work, it's not going to benefit you, right? Like you can have a Lamborghini sitting in the driveway, but it's not going to get you anywhere unless you sit in and drive it and figure out how it works, right? So I got to agree with you on that though, because that was my thing. I think that there's a different, aspect to EXP with all these pillars: the stock, the revenue share, the lead generation, training, cloud platform. I think for me, it was a collaboration. Like when we went down to these events, which I'm hoping this COVID thing is over with soon, because he'll still have done them virtually, but there's a certain energy in the room when you're sitting across the table from guys like you and Mike Reese and all these guys that you're naming, and they're an open book, right? And there's been a couple of times this year where you and I are in relatively close markets. You're a couple hours from me up here in the north, but where I've called you and just picked your brain about stuff, right? And it may be as simple as, man, you're overthinking it or whatever. And it's just, you're able to bounce ideas off each other because we are all invested in each other's success. So that was definitely the number one thing for me as well when I joined the brokerage too. So I guess, is there anything, so for somebody who's out there who, may have maybe looking for some more training or just looking for more information on EXP in general. Do you have any advice for those types of people or anything you want to touch on?
Well, I think it's just like any brokerage. First of all, you said if they're not willing to put in the work, trust me, they're not going to be successful here. They're not going to be successful anywhere if you're not willing to put in the work. It doesn't matter what company you work for at all, right? So it really just is finding that key fit to what you really need to unpack what your goals are, interview some brokerages. But as far as EXP, I just mean you need to have those conversations. See what's out there. See what people can offer you as far as support. Support's huge. The last thing you want to do is join a brokerage if you don't have the support. So make sure you have a great support system in place. Really unpack that. Ask for a visualization of the value that you're going to get, and take a look at it. Right, like you're going to get support from our back end EXP training system where there's 50+ hours every week. I sit in personally on 2 of those icon trainings every single week. I want to get better. You tie into your network at EXP2. I really wanted to know, because we just hired an ISA, how to compensate an ISA, an inside sales agent for our team. And so Jay actually just happened to be live, I think, talking with, I don't know, maybe Joel or John Kitchens about how to compensate it, because he's done everything, right? He's tried every single thing that you could possibly try. And so he gave his opinion. So that really helped me figure out how to compensate my new ISA. So there's just resources that you're tapping into everywhere. So my best advice is do your homework, have a lot of conversations, and pick the best fit for you.
Absolutely. So if you are looking to have a conversation with somebody, I mean, anybody in our local market, if you're wanting to talk to somebody who's not in our local market, here's Brandon's number at the bottom. Anybody who is interested in EXP, my Instagram handle's there. You can get in touch with me there too. But we are obviously extremely excited. Our first calendar year was awesome. It's been a lot of fun. You've been a resource for me, whether you know it or not. You've definitely helped me and pushed me to be better this year, and I appreciate that. I appreciate you taking the time today, because I know you are a very busy man, especially trying to get your team fired up for 2021. So
you're a shining star, buddy. You're a leader. You're very influential. We're lucky to be in the same organization and just growing off each other. And what I'll leave with is these things take time, right? You're not going to come over here and you're going to be immediately successful, right? We've been here now. I've been 18 months. Things are going absolutely incredible, but it's like a business. You're building a business up. So, now I do have significant passive income, monthly revenue share coming in, because I've spent a couple hours every week building the growth of the company, right? We've been awarded a ton of stock. That's significant now. So now we're building it. We have all these pillars of revenue coming in, and we have a real business. It feels like a real well-oiled machine business now. And so, if you put systems in place to build that business, you'll see it grow and you'll be successful.
100%. All right. Thanks for coming on today, brother. And
thanks for having me, man.
Here we go.